Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
Lee.
Just the four of us.
Just the four of us.
No special guests.
No special guests.
You've taken him back to bed.
Yeah, well, he can't talk yet.
when he can.
It doesn't stop you.
Well, this is true. I can talk. Maybe just got nothing worthwhile saying.
Finally. Anyway.
But it's not about having something worthwhile saying. It's just about having the confidence to say something.
Listeners.
That sounds like something a wrestler has said.
It just sounds like something most politicians have said.
Now, listeners, tonight is a momentous night because tonight Lee has baby brain and keeps forgetting things.
Yes.
For the first time, he's got an excuse.
So when it gets round to who's a total shunt, he'll give us the answer and we have to come up with 10 questions.
Oh, that would be tough, especially if we didn't know the driver. Reverse total shunt.
Rear end shunt. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa.
I'll tell you what, that would actually be a really difficult game to do. To give us the driver name, and then each one of us has to come up with an interesting fact until we run out of facts about him.
You only win if you can get 10 facts.
No, the last person to not get a fact, to forget a fact about that particular...
It sounds like a terrible game.
No, it sounds good. Anyway.
We'll save that for the Patreon show.
Yeah.
We'll plug that again
We've
later.
got a good total shunt tonight. Good one.
Oh, you're kind of leaping ahead because...
We've got a lot of things to talk about before that.
I'm teasing them, aren't I?
Yeah, coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's like when you're watching the pre-show for a race and they start plugging the race, which is going to be in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, or apparently as American TV did during the British Grand Prix, with 10 laps to go, they started plugging the repeat of it later on.
Wow, that's...
Wasn't there also an advert for
Yeah,
Lewis
that's
Hamilton?
Yeah, just apparently there was an advert just for Lewis Hamilton.
Not his branded drink.
No, not his headphones.
No.
What about his wash?
No, just not his awful dreads that he had temporarily put in this week. Just Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, brand Lewis. He's got that many tattoos. I guess brand is probably going to be the next body modification that he's going for.
Hashtag LH44.
Yeah, anyway.
Moving on.
Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend.
It is. It's a preview of one of my favourite races of the season.
Yeah.
Well, you're British. All the British love the Hungaroring because that's where they usually win.
Usually win their first
time.
races, yeah.
Didn't in 1997. Lest you
No,
forget.
that was close.
True. Although, as you said before, he would have been disqualified for passing off track
Yep.
under the current regime.
Yeah. But I quite like it. But see, the other thing is, if he hadn't have won that race, Schumacher would have won the championship.
Yeah, that's the way you got to look at it as well, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
what was better there?
Yes.
Well, would Schumacher have won the championship because he got disqualified for trying to murder Villeneuve?
He wouldn't have had to try and murder Villeneuve, though, would he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still done it.
So he might not have got disqualified.
And he might have won the championship.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. So Damon Hill helped Jacques Villeneuve win a world championship.
I wonder if Damon's even thought about that.
Probably has. He probably thought about it a lot.
Yeah, because I'd imagine Adelaide crosses his mind now and again.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'd imagine with Hungary the knock-on effects don't occur to him so much as he should have won that fucking race.
Yes, yeah.
In an Arrows Yamaha.
Was it Yamaha?
I think it was a Yamaha it was powered by, yeah.
I think you're right, you know. Fucking hell, you don't think of Yamaha making Formula 1 engines, do you?
They
No.
didn't.
Did they not? Was it just a branded fucking Mechachrome or something?
Well, no, it was a lump of metal in the back of a Formula 1 car, but it wasn't a Formula 1 engine.
Well, it's true.
We don't need power for the Hungaroring. You need a great balance and a good driver because, as we found out by doing Formula Lee, which is something else we'll get to in due course, the smallest mistake
Well, yeah.
it ruins the rest of your lap. So, news.
Monday news.
Monday news. Things are happening pre sort of us sitting down to record.
Formula 1 news first or non-Formula 1 news first?
Well, I think we'll do the Formula 1 news because obviously the big thing is Robert Kubica is going to be testing a Renault in Hungary next week.
Yes, which Renault has said is to further assess his capabilities of performing at the highest level.
In other words, you do all right, you're in the car.
Yeah.
The only remaining question is when.
Yeah, if he does all right.
Assuming he does all right.
His first test, just to reiterate again, I know I said this on previous week's podcasts, but his first test was in a 2012 Lotus branded as a Renault with exhibition tyres and a detuned engine.
Yeah.
His second test was in full 2012 Renault/Lotus race trim. Using proper race tyres without the detuned engine, and he did far more laps at the speed that he was supposed to do. And he's now going to run this year's car
on, we have to say, a particularly difficult circuit as well.
Yeah, Paul Ricard.
Yeah.
Now he's now going to run the RS17. That's this year's Renault car. Around a circuit which is going to be incredibly demanding physically, as well as just to be able to stay competitive at that level.
But he is a good hand in a Formula One car.
He's back.
But on the other hand, have we done the Jeremy Beadle joke yet?
Yes, we have.
Twice.
I feel what Dan expressed. But the good thing with Robert Kubica doing this test is it's going to give Renault a huge headache because they have so many drivers lined up to take a seat, which is, let's be honest, most likely it's going to be Jolyon Palmer's seat. And in a way, I feel kind of bad for Palmer because most of the luck he's had this year is not. Yeah, he was fifth choice for this year. He got the seat by default.
Yeah,
but most of his luck this year has not been of his doing.
No.
It's
he'd be doing a lot better
if he had Hulkenberg's luck.
Yeah, if he'd had more track time.
Yeah, and he hasn't had very much track time because the car keeps breaking down on him.
Yeah, it's not like he's been particularly crashy or anything like that.
Well, early season he was a couple of times a little bit crashy. Russia springs to mind.
Yeah.
He should have perhaps backed out of that move with Grosjean.
Yeah, but again, Russia was a particular one where he got very little testing as well, wasn't it? So
yeah, very little track time, so difficult to tell. But it does look as though either before Belgium or perhaps at the end of this year that Jolyon Palmer will be on his way. And right, let's be honest, okay? If Kubica does this test, well, he's doing this test.
Yeah.
If Kubica does this test at a standard, because this is important as well. This is why I think this is big news. These tests from the times from this test will be made public.
Yeah.
At the end of the test, I think, not actually whilst they're doing it, but at the end of the test, the times are given out.
So we won't have them for next Monday. Toss.
We
They
won't.
give them at the end of each day.
Oh, that's good. Right, carry on.
Well, the first, isn't it? It's the 1st of August is test day 1.
Oh, so it's the Tuesday that they're doing it.
I think it's
So we wouldn't have them for next Monday.
No.
Because it hasn't happened.
Toss.
Will not have going to have been happening.
Well,
may have to do a quick video pod or something. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it.
Yeah.
We'll think about something. But yeah, if we look at these timesheets,
here's the thing. I know this really shouldn't be done on the podcast, but I'm not rehearsing next Tuesday. We could do the podcast on Tuesday.
I'm rehearsing next Tuesday.
Well,
We can't
there
do the
you
podcast
go.
Doesn't
next
matter.
Tuesday.
no.
Carry on.
If we look at those timesheets on Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening, depending on which day or 2 days that he's doing it, and at the top we see 1 Robert Kubica Renault, and he's a second quicker than everyone else, or in comparable to the race times that we see at the weekend, he's up there. He's close.
That's what we want to be looking for, is the
Yeah.
comparable times between him and the Renault drivers.
Is that temptation then too much for Renault to go, you know what? Think of the publicity, boys.
Yeah.
Think of the publicity.
Absolutely. Think of the T-shirts, think of the hats.
Yeah, exactly. Think of everything. Think of the spotlight on Renault if we do this, and we do it now. But we have to do it before Belgium. Otherwise, we might be leaving it too late at the end of the season.
I also think that it's too much at the beginning of a campaign when you don't know what you're going to have, like car-wise. The Renault making big steps forward.
Yeah.
And I think Renault pretty much would hope to be a solid mid-grid team next year, if not slightly higher.
They want to be up there with the Force Indians, where Williams think they should be.
Yeah. So if that's where that car can be next year, then I think it's too much of a risk to throw Kubica in for a whole season after a couple of tests. Whereas
So half
I
a season.
don't think it's a particularly big risk to get rid of the already underperforming driver with all the like publicity that would go with it and hat sales.
Yeah, and put Kubica in for half a season because, all right, if Kubica does well for half a season,
Then talk contracts.
well, he's brilliant. If Kubica does well for half
Yeah.
a season, he's done brilliantly. If Kubica doesn't do as well and maybe is closer to Palmer than he is to Hulkenberg,
Yeah.
well, he only had half a season and he only came back after 6 years out.
Yeah,
Do
and
you know what I mean? It's almost like a win-win situation for
And
Kubica.
either way, Renault is the company that held faith and give him his chance back in Formula One, which would be great PR for them.
Because when he had the accident, he was more or less on his way out of there anyway. Because there were stories of a pre-contract with Ferrari.
Yeah.
The last time I've seen as many butts as what appeared to be on your face.
No, I don't think teams are as happy to swap drivers in the middle of the season as everyone else seems to. And I think Palmer especially is going to be someone who has good lawyers.
Yeah, but I think that might have been the case last year, but when essentially he was given the scraps off the table to race this year. I don't think the contract that he got put in place would be as cast iron as he'd probably want them to be.
I think you might be right, but if there's any performance clauses or anything, he has a very strong argument that the car hasn't been there. It's not him.
Yeah. But I think just the fact that it's been rumoured that he could be being replaced, if the rumours are there that he's going to be replaced, he's been asked about it in interviews, and he hasn't turned around and said, I've got a contract for the year. He's actually said, I'm just taking race by race. So just the way it's being handled within the team suggests
the
it's
one
possible.
that came out last week,
Yeah.
post Silverstone, the Abitable had said to Palmer, "You
You're
are
definitely
racing in Hungary,
Yeah.
not
The
you are
wording
definitely
of it,
racing
yeah.
for the rest of the season." That story was worded that he was told he was definitely racing in Hungary with no mention of what happens after the summer break.
Yeah, and they chose that quite carefully. I wonder now if the rumour being put out that Britain could be Palmer's last race was maybe put out by a senior official in Renault, just so that they could reassure Jolyon that he would be in the car in Hungary. But no further than that. You know, they haven't said any... By no further than that, that's not what Renault has said to him. That's they haven't guaranteed a seat further than Hungary. The Renault itself, we haven't done we're not nowhere near the preview time yet, but the Renault itself should be quite a strong car at the Hungaroring. There's power's not such a, as I've already said,
It's a
not
high
such a huge.
downforce
It's a
circuit.
high downforce circuit.
Hulkenberg did well with the new floor at Silverstone.
Yeah, that new floor appears to work well through fast sweeping corners, which, let's be honest, from the start line to the finish line is pretty much what Hungary is: fast sweeping corners in quick succession.
And Palmer's getting the new floor.
Absolutely,
Well,
yeah.
they've got to put the new floor on Palmer's car so Kubica can test it on Monday.
But yeah. Could
I don't think I'm completely wrong there,
I don't think you are either. I hate it when that happens.
It's
But yeah,
often though, isn't it? Carry on.
so modest.
I know, it's one of my flaws.
Well, can you get a new floor?
Very few of them.
I think we could be seeing. There's a chance that we could be seeing Palmer's last race.
Yeah.
But- Well, it's one to deal with in the preview anyway. Cause
I think it's all in Kubica's hand.
I've already groaned at that joke.
I just sort of made a deflated sigh. Moving on, the Halo. It's a thing. It's in. It's happening in 2018.
It's a terrible
The
R&B song.
The Great Half Measure.
Well, is it? Because
Yeah, it was. It wasn't one of Beyonce's strongest, but Texas did one called Halo as well, which was quite good.
Yeah.
Soil did a song called Halo, which was good.
That was the really good one.
Yeah.
It's a good video game.
Moving back to Formula One.
That's a good video game as well.
Anyway,
Yes.
the Halo. Wow. Well, Vettel tested the Shield in Silverstone.
For a lap.
Did one lap. Didn't realise he only did one lap until I read the article this week.
Yep, did an installation lap, and it said it made him feel sick and dizzy.
So they got rid of the Shield and straight away went back to the Halo, which would seem like a half backward step for some, but the FIA have been quite forward in what they're saying about
Am I
this.
still right in thinking that the Halo is originally the Ferrari concept?
No, it was Mercedes that came up with
Was
it.
it- was it-
Ferrari,
was it that?
Ferrari were the first ones to volunteer to test it,
Yeah.
and they were the only team.
It was as modified than the original Mercedes Halo has been modified.
Yes,
But the Halo sort of idea was a
that
Mercedes
came from
idea.
Mercedes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ferrari were the only team to vote in favour of it in the strategy group.
Right, okay.
It's kind of the reverse of the Ferrari veto. They wanted it, and nobody else got a say.
Well, there has to be head protection in for 2018. That
Yes.
was already sort of rubber stamped.
Yeah.
And when it was decided that the Shield was a no-go, there's no point in testing it further because after one lap, the driver said he felt dizzy driving with it. It has to be the Halo. Now, the FIA have been quite clear on why they've gone with the Halo. And it's not just a step, well, the Shield didn't work, we may as well go back to the Halo. They have been testing the Halo extensively for the last 18 months or so with computer models and actually reimagining accidents using big models and things as well, and literally firing wheels like cannonballs at the Halo and just seeing what happens, where it deflects,
You know when your job sheet came through, and that was your job sheet.
fire
for
a
the day?
wheel at that helmet.
It's a good Monday, isn't it?
Yeah. It's essentially you're being Mythbusters, aren't you, for 18 months?
No one else. You have crash test dummy toys when they were. A
Oh,
kid.
yeah, of course, yeah.
That's you doing that properly.
Yeah,
getting in there.
exactly. It'd be awesome. But yeah, and what's transpired over the last few days since the announcement was made, even though there have been petitions from supposed fans of Formula One, don't put the Halo in place. It's not the right thing. It's not Formula One. Or it's crap. I'm never going to watch it again. Fine, stop watching.
I actually
Yeah,
want
bugger
to
off
know.
and go watch Doctor Who. Oh no, you don't like that as well now, do you?
No, but the Halo has been tested 1 million times. And in most of its tests, they have said not all of its tests, it's over 90% of its tests it has proven to be successful in its safety tests, safety capabilities.
Yeah.
They've the various accidents that they've reimagined using computer models and
they have actually done some physical testing on it with firing real things at it.
oh
too.
yeah. And physical tests. Well, they've tried to physically run big car models over the Halo as well, just to see what would happen in various situations. But the
physical tests. All I imagined was them with a Halo in the middle of a school gym, trying to make it do the bleep test.
Yeah.
And just, this is fucking rubbish.
throw that medicine ball at that Halo. Well, it bounced off. But
I thought we were going to get a Crystal Maze reference. You kind of surprised me with that.
But no, does anybody remember Liuzzi's crash when in the Force India, when he sort of slid up the nose cone on Michael Schumacher's car and very nearly hit Michael Schumacher's head?
Yeah.
They've redone that. Romain Grosjean flying sideways into Fernando Alonso at Spa a few years ago. That they've redone that one. Justin Wilson's fatal accident in IndyCar, they've even sort of had a look at that as well. And
Well, India looking at
there was
the
a-
Halo as well, aren't they? Now?
yeah, there's a Formula 3000.
Not exactly the same.
No, but
Slight-
similar
something
concept.
similar,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a Formula 3000 driver who crashed at Magny Cours in '95, where he landed upside down on a wall.
Yeah.
Or
Is
his
that
head-
Henry Surtees?
No, not Henry Surtees had a wheel, I think, hit his head. Very similar to Justin Wilson, but
See, it does sound to me like that the tests that were chosen to be done were chosen because they knew that they'd probably get positive results, from it, because they want to put it out with a good spin. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about that, because the design for the Halo is going to have been done right from the start
Yeah.
to try and stop
Oh, don't
all
worry,
of these
I'm
accidents
not
causing
anti-head
problems.
protection because I get anyone that listens to this podcast.
Yeah,
on
but
there.
what I'm saying is, the guys who sat down and drew it out the first time
Yeah.
will have been thinking about Justin Wilson's accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry
yeah.
Surtees,
Henry Surtees, all of
and
those
all
sort
these-
of things. So it's not unsurprising that
No.
all these tests pass because they're the ones that it's designed to solve.
I think what. Sorry, I thought I'd finished yawning then. No, it's not you, Dan. I think the what people seem to be forgetting in amongst like all the fucking vitriol and noise that the Halo isn't being used because it's the best solution. It's being used because it's the best working solution as of this moment in time.
which
Well,
is the only thing you can go
That's
forward with.
pragmatism.
Yeah.
The only other
But-
the only other thing you can do is closed canopy, full
Yeah.
closed cockpits. But if the Shield made Vettel feel dizzy, then they're really going to have to rethink sort of closed canopy cockpits if that's the way they're going to go from 2020 onwards.
I mean, I don't. I think the Shield. The problem with the Shield for making Vettel feel funny and it distorting vision because of the curve is because they've essentially stuck a massive piece of glass on a car which wasn't designed for it. I think if you were building a car around it, like we said before, I don't think you'd have those problems. In my professional opinion, as a painter and decorator.
Yeah, possibly not.
But they have to do it because if somebody like this year, for instance, if somebody was to die this year, can you imagine the fucking like hoo-ha that would go on?
Outrage. Yeah.
You know, and every single this is what annoys me is that if there was a horrible accident and somebody like Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel died, every single person that has said, I won't watch Formula One because of head protection, would then be going on to the same forums going, I'm not watching Formula One because this is disgusting and somebody should have done something about it.
Yeah, well, why didn't nobody think of this before?
Yeah.
It's always reactive and never
Yeah.
proactive. Well,
Yeah.
guess what?
I think the thing that the FIA have done wrong here is the PR for it.
Yeah.
It's only after they've announced that this is happening that the information about the testing that they've done's come out. So from a fan's point of view, what we've seen is a couple of laps with the halo on,
Yeah.
a couple of laps with the shield on,
Yeah.
a couple of laps with the aero screen on.
And a picture of Guido van der Garde with a flip-flop in front of his face.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even think
If I may, tosser.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you.
I think there should be I think people, especially internet people, and dare I say it, like fans of things, like movie fans, music fans.
Yeah.
I think people have far too much say in things these days, and I think sports are far too reactive to the vocal minority.
Yeah, there was even been petitions to stop the Halo going in for next year. Well, tough, get on with it. It's a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
The other the tests that a lot of people were worried about as to whether or not they would actually help or maybe even hinder drivers were if the driver went upside down in the car like Fernando Alonso. We would pretend that wasn't us. If
Pretend it wasn't Lee.
no,
Is it me?
I think
Yes.
so.
Because that was an iPhone beep.
Well, it was as well.
I think Fernando Alonso going upside down in Australia at the beginning of last year, they sort of tried to recreate that and then actually got somebody, not at the actual speed, I don't think, but then actually got somebody to get out of the car, so who's not a Formula One driver, and he got out in a reasonable time, which, if you think about it, somebody who's, a lot fitter and a lot of sort of,
And a lot used to making those
Jumping out
particular
of
moves
cars.
to jump out of a Formula One car.
Shouldn't have too much trouble doing it. If for example, average Chris here could jump out of the car in that kind of time, then you'd expect a Formula One driver to be able to do it as well. That it didn't prove too much of a problem in an upside down situation.
Yeah.
It just sort of pulls out the way and off to one side, and you're out. Also, Felipe Massa's accident, which just so happened to be at the Hungaroring, which is upcoming this weekend, where Barrichello's suspension spring, wasn't it, that fell out the back of his brawn, bounced along the road and hit Massa's helmet just above his left eyebrow and knocked him unconscious whilst he had his foot planted in a Formula One car.
And I didn't realise until they interviewed him last week, you can still see the scar from that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't noticed that. But yeah, he had his foot planted, and I think he hit the barrier about 196 mile an hour.
Yeah, they said something. It was something like momentarily 27 G deceleration.
Good God, that's what knocked him clean out.
Yeah.
See, that I think that's what people forget sometimes as well, because the people say, "Oh, there should be the danger in the sport." Formula One's always going to be dangerous because it's the sudden stop that's dangerous,
Yeah. It's if you're
Yeah.
going really quickly and then all of a sudden you hit something that makes you stop.
and your bits keep going, but you just stop. You everything else
Yeah.
stays where it is.
Yeah.
But-
So, but I mean, if you're watching it for accidents like Massa, don't watch Formula One, please.
Just get the crash videos.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
Exactly. But then,
Go watch YouTube.
yeah, exactly. There are probably countless grim videos on
Yeah.
YouTube or somewhere else on the internet that you can watch. But what's that? Faces of Death. Go and watch them.
Yeah.
But the
Better still practice it. What?
anyway, but the yeah, they tested the Halo with incidents similar to Felipe Massa, where debris could penetrate the Halo and still hit the driver in the face, whilst he's still wearing the helmet, of course. And it's questionable. It could and it couldn't have.
Yeah.
Sometimes things bounce off sideways, and fair enough, they might bounce off sideways into the path of another driver. But the general consensus is it's safer than what we've got now,
Yeah.
and we can't make it 100% safe because of what we're doing, because of what you just said, Lee.
Yeah.
There's people driving
the funny
fast.
thing is, the people that turn around and say, "Oh well, it wouldn't have done anything for Massa's crash." I feel like turning around to them and saying, "Well, it's still fucking dangerous then. So what's your problem?"
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Yeah.
I do want to know how they're going to solve the Eau Rouge problem.
Drivers won't be able to see Eau Rouge on the approach to it. And also, somebody said looking up the hill at Monaco as well, that looking up the hill at Monaco from Saint Devote, the first turn, you won't be able to see what's going on right at the top of the hill.
But surely, for one thing, that's got to be a bit dangerous, not being able to see the road in front of you. And also, surely the FIA have thought of this.
The only thing I'd be interested to know is as a driver where you're actually looking, because what it means is when you're coming up to the bottom of Eau Rouge, it blocks out the top of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if your vision is to the apex of that first turn anyway, then you're not going to
be looking at the top. You're going to be looking a lot lower down.
All right, okay,
Also,
but hang on.
also, the
But
other
what
thing-
if you're following Kevin Magnussen when he had his huge accident? Was it last year at Spa? You're following Kevin Magnussen and he has that huge accident. You don't see it, and then he comes back across the road in front of you, and then you do see him when he's in front of you,
Yeah,
and you're
'cause-
already doing 200 miles
Because
an hour.
even if you're looking at the apex, you would see a car going the wrong way in a completely different way to
yeah,
a car
yeah,
going the right
that's a
way.
fair point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The thing is, though, the FIA haven't released what the final design specifications of it are going to be.
Yeah.
So there may be modifications to what we've seen running on the Ferrari cars. The top of it could be in a slightly different place. It might not have the one strut in the middle, and they might go
Well,
back
here's
to the
another
original
one. If they're going to be
Mercedes idea.
building the cars around it, maybe the fucking seating position might be slightly different.
Possibly, yeah.
So it's all it takes is for that seat for it to be slightly further back to bring draw the driver further into the car, and all of a sudden you've got better eyesight up out of the car. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Or maybe because you got that big sort of canopy
Yeah.
bit sort of just in front of your forehead, which is the bit that the is causing the
I
question.
want closed cockpits anyway, so
Well,
it's a step towards that. So
Exactly, but maybe if they are
future F-Zero cars.
doing this isn't like a finished design, perhaps it'll be some sort of
German.
I finished. I said. If
You're
it's
a
not-
dad now. You can do the dad jokes.
You want
I'm free!
Later, I shall dance.
But if it's not the finished version of what we're seeing on screen and in on circuits at the moment is not the complete thing, maybe it'll be like a carbon composite with plastic, and you'll be able to see through that, just in case anything goes on above.
Possibly,
It
yeah.
could-
Just for our listeners, Paul is quietly opening
I
biscuits.
should have
He
just
couldn't-
been really unsubtle about that. Just opened them.
You should have just gone out the room.
I'm
or
sure
done
no
it
one
before we
heard.
started recording.
Is there a biscuit packet filter that you can plug into Adobe Audition?
Maybe.
There will
I'm now
be.
eating. I'm not actually eating biscuits. I'm eating a Jaffa cake.
Yeah, not biscuits for tax reasons. So yeah, the Halo is a thing and it's happening.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. It's a shame because I think once the fins are dropped next year, we'd have had some pretty sexy looking Formula One cars.
And I also think that it's a half measure. And I believe your son will grow up and age 7, 8 years old.
Yeah,
He'll look at a car with a Halo on it and go, "Dad, what was that?"
Yeah. Oh, I'm convinced that when
Well, it'll be
2020.
yeah, it'll be just like the equivalent of people of, I'm going to generalise here, our generation, looking at the god-awful ugly 70s cars with the 3 feet high airboxes.
Yeah.
And going, what?
Or when they'd first discovered wings and they just stuck them in mid-air.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the front wing on the Lotus 49
Yeah.
was like above the driver's helmet. It was ridiculous.
You know, it's Formula One does evolve, as all sports that are at the cutting edge of technology do.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I think what people are forgetting is Formula One hasn't evolved properly or enough for the last few years, and that's why it feels a bit stagnant.
You could argue the last 20 years. Up until 2017,
Yeah,
you could argue the last 20 years have been lost. And that all stemmed from the death of Ayrton Senna in '94.
Well, yeah, 'cause it has been 20. It's been 20 years of making sure that the cars don't go too fast.
Yeah.
By reducing the engine size. And
Yeah.
now look. Now look what you've done. Technology is better than you.
Yeah. We will move on. Haas.
Yeah, they've confirmed their driver lineup. Have they for next year?
Yeah, they've kind of made things the unsilly season. They're not changing drivers.
Fair enough. And K-Mag's been impressing them. Grosjean's been a bit whingy. But
When
they,
isn't he?
well, exactly. But they obviously trust him enough to
Like, he
continue.
didn't whinge at Silverstone because he got the new brakes. Maybe it was the brakes all along and not him.
Of course, it was the brakes. I don't think we ever thought it was him, not the brakes.
He
did
didn't
we?
whinge this much at Lotus.
No. But like, you can't fake a brake failure when your brakes explode.
Was it Malaysia? He had a really heavy one.
Yeah.
That was bad.
But the only thing I'd say about this is not the whinge or anything like that. I think it's a very uninspired driver lineup, and
Safe, I think, is the word.
I don't. Yeah,
They don't want to rock the boat too much. They want safety and stability whilst they continue to grow as a Formula One team.
And saying to both of your drivers, yes, you have a seat for next year. It's
Stability.
It's good. Yeah, it's going to calm them down if they were
strong
if they
and
were
stable
worried at all.
leadership in the Haas national interest.
No, I was going to go for the F1 grid. Right? It's like the Avengers.
It isn't.
Well, it is, because
Go on.
Haas, as a team, are Captain America, the most sensible Avenger. The dullest.
Okay. We can,
I'm going to say no.
it isn't.
Just because you didn't think of that.
No.
Who's Iron Man?
Captain's brakes have never failed.
He got frozen for God knows how many years.
So did Han Solo, but he's not on the grid.
He's
Anyway,
not an Avenger.
no.
Wrong Disney franchise.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow. Yeah, I just think that if you're essentially like what Jordan were for a while, which is I think where Haas might be, not
The independent party team who do really well and everyone likes you.
Yeah. You want someone
I
that's
wouldn't say Haas are the party team, though.
Not yet.
no, but you want somebody that's gonna push the car, and get you that sick, or your car should really be 7th. The car should really be 10th. And I think they've got the drivers that are gonna scrape that 10th when your car should really be 6th.
Just find it very, very interesting that the news came out just around the same time as Antonio Giovinazzi, who of course is testing for Haas for pretty much every FP1 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm sure Ferrari will put me in an F1 seat for next year.
And then Haas like,
And
not
then,
here.
yeah, and then Haas basically said, well, it won't be one of ours.
And of course, if we can just sort of partially lead into the other bit about the test in Hungary, is Nobuharu Matsushita testing for Sauber.
Well pronounced.
And Matsushita is owned by Honda.
Yeah, he's a Honda development driver, and he will be in the Sauber. So, is that reigniting the Sauber Honda thing? Because we don't really know where they're sitting.
I take it.
Or is it
He is
holdover
Japanese.
from
He is, yeah.
Sauber
We haven't had a
Honda
crap
thing?
chap
Oh, I
for
don't
ages,
know.
have we?
It's a good point.
I'm trying to remember who was the last.
Ukyo Katayama was the last crap chap.
Oh no, there's been crap jab. Tora Takagi.
What was that?
Kazuki Nakajima?
Kazuki Nakajima.
Yeah, oh god, he couldn't do pit stops, could he?
No.
His first 3 pit stops, he ran over a crew member.
Oh, also, for Formula One related to babies and drivers, my son was born on the same day as Malaysian sensation Alex Young. Carry on.
Oh, very good. Oh, did you say Kamui
He looks a lot
Kobayashi was
younger.
crap?
What?
Did you say Kamui Kobayashi was crap?
Yeah.
No, he was good for 2 seasons.
No, he wasn't too good for 2 seasons. He was good for 2 races because he worked out that if he slammed his car into the side of other people, he could get past them on a corner.
He was good
He
for...
should have been pulled off the fucking track at Suzuka.
No, he was all right for 2 seasons. When he was at Sauber,
Then
and
he
Sauber were
conned
pretty
the
good.
world. The greatest trick he ever pulled was conning people.
He was Verstappen in his first few
Oh,
races.
yeah.
You'd watch him because he overtook people and no one else could.
Yeah, but then he'd crash.
And then he'd take off. Does anybody remember this?
While shouting about a small tree.
Yeah.
Bonsai. Does anybody remember when he took off at the Australian Grand Prix and flew over about 3 cars?
Oh yes.
Just before he hit the braking zone, he hit, I think it was Mark Webber, actually. He hit Mark Webber and then just took off and was...
Was it 2009 his last race in Toyota?
I don't know if he did. Did he do Toyota?
Yeah.
Did he? No, he was definitely in Sauber in about 2010, 2011.
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah, he was Perez's teammate at Sauber, so 2011, 2012.
His last team was Caterham, wasn't he? He got it.
He had a year out, and then he came back with Caterham, and
Yeah.
because Caterham would dump, Kobayashi was dump at Caterham.
Yeah. And then he crowdfunded his sponsorship. Didn't get a drive and disappeared
Yeah.
into the sunset.
Oh yeah, because
Now he's in Japanese Super Formula.
Yes, because we have a picture somewhere on the website of Kobayashi wearing a Caterham cap.
Yeah.
And somebody has linked to that picture that's on our site in a forum post somewhere saying, I'd like a Caterham cap, just like Kobayashi wears. No, the replies to it are, why? But no, I remember the crowdfunding now.
Yeah.
Because, he wanted to crowdfund enough just for half a season.
Yeah.
So he could bring real sponsors in.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get enough for a race.
No, he got a million. He got over $1 million. It's like 2 million or something like that. He got. He hit his goal. Like he hit his goal, and then I don't know that nothing seemed to happen. Maybe he bought a house.
Yeah, Caterham said, "Actually, we're not that desperate."
And he said, "Oh wow! All of a sudden, I've got no driver. I've got £2 million in the bank, which is 75 billion yen."
Roughly.
Probably is, actually. It's probably not that far off. So yeah, Matsushita's doing the Sauber Honda, isn't he? Sauber,
test.
but we think he might be. That might be. Dan just made a good point then. I think whilst you guys were talking about the.
Yeah, Chris was saying, is this a sign that Sauber are getting Hondas? Perhaps it's just that was part of the old agreement.
Already in place.
That was written down by Manisha Kaltenborn before she.
And nobody's changed it, and it's easier just to carry on with it.
Yeah, and then
so
2 weeks before the test, Matsushita turned up in a Sauber garage with the overalls on, and they went,
this shit again.
"Who's this guy?"
No. Who's this Guido?
Yeah, with a flip flop in front of his face. Guido van der Garde needs to pipe down.
If I may, Tosser.
Yeah, you may. Yeah, he
So-
really needs to pipe down.
But apart from Tosser, I wouldn't read too much into
Matsushita being being Nobuharu Matsushita being the but he is a Honda development driver. That's the only thing that sort of made me think that tie-in with Honda might be reignited or still alive even after we've.
Could be.
But I mean, that's the thing with still the possibility of the Honda deal being on the table for Sauber, or if they move to Ferrari, then it's going to be Giovinazzi that's in there. Verline is going to be worried, should we say? Because he's going to be the prime candidate for them to let go.
It depends whether
the bad joke
Ericsson's backers stay around. If Ericsson's backers don't stay around and they don't want to be part of Formula One anymore,
Then there isn't a Sauber.
well,
look at what Fred Vasseur said. Was it Fred Vasseur?
Yeah.
Who said that?
In his first interview as team principal.
Backing a team, having financial backing based on one driver is a terrible business plan for a racing team.
Of course it is.
This is the man who's just taken. Yeah, this is the team who's just taken over. The guy who's just taken over the team. You know, and he's saying that don't do this because it normally doesn't work out.
Yeah, and don't forget this. If they can get this Honda thing together, I don't think they'll be getting McLaren money, but they still might be getting some Honda cash.
Yeah.
It's what they would need to keep going.
Even free engines, even if it's the fact that they're not paying for the engines, or almost not paying for the engines, compared to getting supply from.
It's still 50 or 60 million that they don't have to spend there.
It's probably half the budget for the year of just running the racing team.
It could be, but for the first time in his recorded history in an F1 car, Pascal Verlaine is having to look over his shoulder. I'll get me coat.
Anyone else see that tumbleweed?
Was that a joke?
Apparently, it wasn't.
Well,
They said that Ericsson was the number one driver in Sauber. They Verlaine.
yeah. See, that's where you are. Fucking boom. No setup, nothing. Just fucking jumped in, saved the day, left a box of milk tray in the kitchen.
Yeah, I've sort of plagiarised another joke, but yes.
Would anyone mind if we moved on?
Yeah, of course.
So where does that? It sort of leads nicely. So where does that leave Giovinazzi? Because he's been saying, "I am sure Ferrari will get me a race seat next year." Where? How?
I don't know.
That is the big question.
Unless
You might have Kimmy's seat yet.
well, yeah, that's unlikely.
I know.
We always know that Sebastian wants Kimi around, doesn't he, for 2018?
Yeah.
And
But I think Sebastian has to commit to Ferrari if that's the case.
yeah,
And if I was Sebastian, I'd be thinking long and hard about signing a 3-year deal with Ferrari because look what happened to Alonso.
yeah. What was it? He's 8 points away from being a 5-time world champion.
And Sebastian Vettel's career in Ferrari seems to be looking Alonso-like.
But you could also say the same. Sebastian Vettel signs a 3-year deal with Ferrari. Look what happened to Alonso. He got out of his a year early.
Yeah, but still, he still had that.
3 years.
He still had to go through essentially like his relationship breaking down with Ferrari a massive amounts to get that.
Yeah.
It was a very different Ferrari then as well.
Yeah, because Marchioni's fired everyone that was there then.
And also, with Giovinazzi saying, and I'm sure that Ferrari will find me a race seat. What if one of their drivers, Raikkonen or Vettel, does leave them in the shit at the end of the season after everybody else has already signed up?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to this team, and that driver's not
Kimi should
Ferrari
go back to
material.
Renault.
Well, that's not anything I don't think anyone's thought about, but perhaps more.
He's connected with the team. See, that's the thing. I think people seem to think that if Kimi wants to retire, if Ferrari don't want to keep him on, Kimi can retire. But we shouldn't think for 1 second that Kimi is not an attractive driver to other teams.
Oh no, of course he is, but yeah,
Kimi would be fucking ideal for Williams.
But just at the end of the season, if everybody else has already signed up and then Kimi goes, "Had enough, mate. I'm off. Bye." Oh, we need a driver quickly for next year. And they struggle. Winter comes, winter goes. Springtime's here. Haven't got a driver. Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
I think they'd be more likely to get Perez or someone in.
Yeah.
Or Grosjean.
Yeah.
Buy them out of the contract.
I think they'd be more likely to get
Well-
Perez and maybe not Grosjean.
I think drivers like Perez and Grosjean will have clauses in the contract saying if Ferrari or McLaren...
Or Carlos
not
Sainz.
McLaren. Mercedes come calling, then they have a get-out clause for that.
I think Grosjean could probably go anyway, given the close working relationship between Haas and Ferrari. So
Well, Grosjean still says now that his part of being in Haas is to get a Ferrari seat.
I still think
he said that this year.
I still think I've got more chance of getting that Ferrari drive than Grosjean.
But Ferrari generally don't take on young drivers.
Nope.
Do we know who Ferrari have driving for them in this young drivers test in Hungary?
No, because I've not brought that up yet. Because
fine.
Is it Charles Leclerc?
I think it is Charles Leclerc.
I think he's driving, but I can't remember who for.
Yeah,
he is driving for Ferrari.
Yeah, Force India was made quite an interesting announcement just after last week's podcast as well, having Lucas Auer, who I think is a German DTM driver and Formula 3. I think possibly German Formula 3 champion or European Formula 3 driver, and the Russian driver who's tested for some teams before, Mazepin, also in the Force India as well. So they've decided not to put Chelis Jr. in.
Yeah, very strange about him not putting Chelis in there because he's done a couple of FP1s this season.
Yeah,
and he was meant to be like the next big thing.
Although Sean Kelly, virtual stat man, a friend of ours on the show, has said in the past on a Three Legs Four Wheels podcast that Alfonso Chelis Jr. should not be anywhere near a race car. That was just.
Oh, yeah, I remember saying it. The lineup confirmed so far. And I'm getting this from where am I getting this from? Crash.net, and this is today. Mercedes, George Russell is doing both days.
Yeah.
Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, and still to be announced.
Probably Giovinazzi, do we think? He's only done 2 races, so he still qualifies.
He still qualifies. I mean, they've got the option of running Charles Leclerc both days.
Yeah.
Red Bull haven't announced anyone, but you've got to think that one of those days it's going to be Gasly in the car.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see why not.
Because Toro Rosso are running somebody else, aren't they?
Toro Rosso haven't actually announced who they're running yet.
I have a newborn son. He could get in the Red Bull driver program.
No, he's too old.
Is he?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No, he was born Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deadline was Friday.
Motherfucker.
He's too old. You have to put him in the Ferrari Young Driver program instead.
Oh, damn it. And they never breed drivers.
He could go to Formula E.
He's already opted out of that. He had the option on the Virgin car, but he said no.
Well, there's new teams entering.
Apparently so.
But we'll get onto that.
We'll
in a
get
bit.
to that after testing. Force India, as you said, Mazepin and Lucas Auer. Now, what Force India are actually doing is splitting it on each day. They're doing.
Is it a morning and an afternoon?
They're doing morning and afternoon sessions, each of them, rather than having the same driver in for the full day. Williams, Toro Rosso, and McLaren yet to be announced. Haas.
They do that quite a lot, don't they? They do it in pre-season testing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Haas are running Santino Ferrucci on both days. So
Neil Goldman.
So you've got to think if Ferrucci's doing both days for Haas, then Giovinazzi will probably be running the other day for Ferrari, that Charles Leclerc isn't. Renault, Robert Kubica, and Nicholas Latifi, who seems to get the nod over Oliver Rowland, who is teammates with him in F2 and beating him in F2.
Is Oliver Rowland younger than Nicholas Latifi?
If only you had some kind of device in front of you when you ask questions like this.
I just it's a speculation point, because if he is, I'm wondering if they sort of just putting Latifi just sort of ahead of him just for now, just to sort of see how Nicholas Latifi gets on, and then Rowland, you just sit back a little bit, you'll get your chance.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's just pure conjecture. I don't even know the age difference between the two of them. That's literally why.
Maybe you got it because he's a Latif.
He's a what now?
He's a Latif.
Dad joke. Ollie Rowland.
It's not a dad joke when you know it's bad.
Ollie Rowland is 24, Nicholas Latifi is 22.
So no.
No.
Maybe they think Rowland's already passed it at 24.
That's depressing. That
is,
really
yeah.
is depressing.
Well, Danny Kvyat's too old now, isn't he?
Maybe they
He's
just don't think
23,
maybe they just
24?
don't think he's good enough.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's beating Latifi in F2.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they don't see, maybe they think that's his ceiling, whereas they think Latifi can get better.
Yeah, possibly. The other Sauber that on the day that Matsushita isn't driving is going to be the F2 driver Gustav Maldia. Which, that's an interesting proposition.
None of these people have Formula One driver names.
No.
Nobuharu Matsushita is quite a good one.
Yeah, pay driver at the back of the grid.
I would argue that he sounds more like an anime character.
Charles Leclerc would have been a Formula One driver in the 50s.
No, Charles Leclerc, that
Is
is
a chocolate.
With a fantastic moustache.
Yeah, you
No.
could see Charles
And a
Leclerc.
pipe.
You could see Charles Leclerc dicing with Fangio.
No. Charles Leclerc is a pastry chef from France who is very good and has his own piece of pastry named after him called the Charles Leclerc.
But his secondary speciality is making Stoffels.
Perhaps.
I actually think Charles Leclerc sounds like a snowboarder.
Dear?
Yeah. He's some sort of extreme sport.
I think Stoffel
Of
Van...
Charles Burnout Leclerc.
I think Stoffel Van Dorn sounds like somebody who'd be, jumping out of a hot air balloon
Yeah.
into a pit of fire.
Although his name would be Charles Leclerc, but he's American.
Fair enough.
That's
Like
that-
Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the testing lineup anyway, of what we know of it.
So realistically, testing for us as far as news goes is the Kubica show.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And there are a number of drivers that you would expect if Kubica does want to return to competition that he should beat, and they would be those two that they've chosen at Force India, arguably Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari.
I don't think you should count out the difference in performance of cars just with talent.
No, but usually if he is looking to make a competitive return, he has to be competitive.
Yeah, but I think what we really need to do more is look at the testing times of the Renaults. FP2, FP1, FP2. See what the times are there, and then measure them to that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. You're making sense now. You're back in the room.
Although I'm getting that tired, I can barely see. Carry on.
Although
It's
there
10
is
o'clock yet.
there is other news is there concerning Mercedes?
Which happened about half an hour before we started recording.
Yes.
They are leaving DTM.
The many multiple champions of DTM
And they are going to concentrate
on
going slower. Sorry, Formula E.
Formula E. They're going to take, which seems like a strange move, but obviously one that Mercedes think is a forward step.
Well, considering DTM almost feels like Mercedes for Formula Mercedes.
It almost is, but the DTM is not now what it used to be. It used to be the German version of British touring cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now essentially, here's a tubular chassis with a racing engine bolted into it, where we've put the shell of a car that resembles something that these guys make. It's not quite so touring car as it... What DTM stands for? Something like Deutsche Touring Master Wagen or something.
Yeah.
Touring Wagen Master or something like that.
Deutsche Tourwagen Master.
Something like
series.
that. Yeah.
It's got Deutsche Tour and Master in
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
German words.
Yeah. But yeah, not really touring cars.
Do you want me to break out the user manual one again? Which, no, I couldn't actually say that before.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just look up the German for user manual.
Yeah, I'm gonna
There's lots of letters in it.
I'm going to do it now, but yeah, the it's a massive statement of intent for Mercedes to move to Formula E, ditching Formula DTM, ditching DTM from 2018. So they got one more year after this year in DTM, and then they're doing the 2018-2019 Formula E season. I wonder
Season 6 of Formula
E, yeah. So I
but
wonder if they'll put Paul di Resta in.
I was just going to say Paul di Resta confirmed for Formula E.
Yeah, because he's a ex-Formula 1 driver.
Yeah.
Who was mildly successful.
Yeah. They tend to do quite well at Formula E. Mercedes, he's got naked pictures of people that are high up involved in Mercedes because he seems to get far more from Mercedes than he deserves.
He's been there. He's been a driver with Mercedes for a long time. It's how he got the Force India drive as well.
I stand by my previous statement.
Yeah, he was.
Remember that he was putting that Force India in 3rd and 4th place.
Yeah, he was.
Well before it deserved to be.
He was. he was lost. Within the shuffle.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't have been. He should have had another go.
Did he
somewhere,
lose
yeah.
his seat to Adrian Sutil?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So yeah.
I've no
Well
idea.
done, Force India.
Why would you pick Sutil over Darista?
No, I've no idea either. Absolutely no idea whatsoever. Oh yeah, I've just looked at the German for user manual. Benutzerhandbuch.
Yes.
Something like that. More tangents.
So, one of our listeners has asked, what's the knock-on effect of this news for the Mercedes Formula One team? According to Toto Wolff,
Who is head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport. Not just the Formula One
Yeah.
team.
so fairly authoritative about this. There is no effect on the Formula One team. Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport. Formula E is a start-up
That we want to get interested in.
that they are interested in,
Yeah.
but completely different things.
I think it's just exposure. I think the amount it costs for these big companies to get into Formula One, for the exposure they get, it's just worth them doing it. It's a really cheap thing that they can do that gets their cars out there.
I think you mean Formula E, not Formula One.
Did I say Formula One?
You said Formula One.
Formula One is
It's not a really cheap thing.
No.
Formula E, yeah. I think it's one of those things of we might as well do it.
Well, you know how Formula E is sort of like evolving its rules. There was the two cars, wasn't there? The batteries thing, and
Yes.
now a battery can last almost a whole race unless you're Daniel Abt, in which case it doesn't.
Sometimes lasts a whole lap if you're Daniel Abt.
Yeah. And I wonder if there's something in the pipeline coming for that particular season of Formula E, or the season previous to that a rule change, a shake-up of some description that Mercedes have sort of read the press, not the press, but sort of the inside track on and gone, ooh, I like the sound of that. Should we get involved in this?
Mercedes were talking about this. It was around about a year ago, because I remember we talked about it on a podcast, saying that they had put themselves down for an option to join for the 2018-19 season,
Which is the one
one that they've now taken up. So it could. This has obviously been in the pipeline for a long time. It's just the added shock of them actually moving away from DTM, which, as you said, they have owned
pretty much
in the last few years.
Yeah.
But of course the
concentrating
risk,
all the efforts that they were putting into DTM to put it all into Formula E.
the risk when you are constantly the winners in a series is that it stops being news.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the only time you get noticed is when you don't win.
Because we know that all of motorsport for big manufacturers like Mercedes is essentially marketing, and as the old adage goes, win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah.
Electric cars becoming quite a big thing now. If Mercedes go into Formula E and are like, oh hey, look, we can do this like we do in Formula One, and we can win nearly everything. You watch then the Mercedes electric car sales will shoot up.
Did anyone?
I like the noise.
Did anyone know that it's Williams that designed the batteries for all the Formula
Yes.
E cars?
Yes.
I'd completely forgotten that.
Yeah.
It's a shame they can't do a better job with their Formula One.
Oh.
Their recovery system in Formula One, seeing as they design everything.
Williams's recovery system, their KERS system, I don't know about right now, but Williams's KERS system was the most advanced system on the grid.
Except that time Maldonado's burst into flames.
Yeah, well.
But it's all right.
Then it was the fire risk one in the garage.
Yeah, but it was fucking Maldonado's car.
He'd already won the
just
race.
won, so
Yeah.
there was something wrong with the world that day.
He couldn't switch it off.
Don't know what it is. Sorry. I went all Aerosmith for a second there. Anyway.
Dead air.
Where were we? Oh yeah, that's it for the news.
Yay.
Oh, was that it? Are we
That was,
news?
that was the last item.
News did-outed.
Yes, unless anything has happened in the last sort of 20 minutes, which I'm seriously doubting.
Thunderbird style. I don't think it happened in the next half hour.
No, that was Captain Scarlet.
Oh, was it the Captain Scarlet?
Yeah, it was. It was one of them with puppets.
Captain Scarlet's always confused me.
Yeah.
because the beginning of Captain Scarlet, where they turn around and say like Mistron sworn enemies of Earth, blah blah blah. Their only hope is to kill one man fate has made indestructible. You would find a new planet to conquer.
Yeah. We have to kill this indestructible thing.
Yeah.
It's like, here comes the unstoppable force against the immovable object.
Which is why...
Wait, hang on.
Which is why I think it was an orchestrated war to sell spaceships.
Lee has a conspiracy about Captain Scarlet.
Was
Your conspiracy theory in Jerry Anderson.
Was he using tinfoil strings or something?
Yeah. Well, they saw Vietnam, they saw all the money that Bell Helicopter made, and then Bell Spaceships went, we can have a bit of this.
Anyway,
I need a drink.
moving on. We got.
Are we previewing Hungary now?
Yeah.
We are previewing Hungary, even though I think Lee's just broken the world.
I keep touching my mic as well. I'm really sorry to the listeners.
Yeah, that gentle thud you keep hearing in your ear. That's just Lee.
So, yes, Hungary, as we said before, fast sweeping corners, not a power circuit.
Not at all. It's an aero circuit with, with the onus very much on downforce.
Sauber is still going to suck.
Probably. I don't know of any upgrades that Sauber are bringing to Hungary.
Coffee machine.
They wanted to. Manisha Kaltenborn said that they wanted to concentrate on their aero package for the rest of the year. Kaltenborn's now gone, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and Sauber said we want to concentrate on everything in the team that isn't Manisha Kaltenborn.
Yeah.
One thing that we do know is that McLaren, here's the next half hour.
No, it isn't.
Plan to go into the race penalty free.
Because they
think they've
That's
got
why
a good chance.
That's why they ate all the penalties.
Yes. They strategized
Previously.
this brilliantly.
Yeah.
Well, we were
Is this
cursing
time
them.
again to stick another tenner on a Alonso podium?
Of course it is. Because we berated McLaren for giving Alonso all of the penalties in Britain, where he looked quite quick in FP1 and FP2. And then, was quickest at the end of Q1. Let's not forget
Some
that.
of that was weather assisted,
Yeah,
but
shenanigans.
No,
Yeah.
not shenanigans. Drying track.
Yeah.
You can't control that.
No.
Anyway.
isn't shenanigans where Eddie Jordan goes for a pint at the end of the race?
Fucking
Oh dear.
But anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought.
yeah.
It's gone, just gone, completely
McLaren
gone.
penalties, Alonso took them into
Yeah.
Silverstone.
Well, do you remember a couple of years ago, Alonso finished 5th in Hungary? That was shenanigans. That's when Hamilton decided he didn't want to be at the front, and Nico Rosberg thought, I might win this race, or I could hit Danny Ricciardo. And then...
In hindsight, a bad choice.
Well, yeah, but then within the last few laps, everyone had to pit, so Alonso finished 5th.
Yeah.
That sort of result is not unfathomable again in Hungary this year. Perhaps not 5th, but points definitely. They could score points.
Yeah.
And they need to start scoring points. They need to outscore Sauber for the rest of the season.
Contenders, easy.
You think McLaren are Q3 contenders? Think they can maybe have this Honda power
Alonso
unit?
5th.
Yeah, qualify 5th.
Yeah. Van Dorn will be 10th.
Yeah, that's Lee's bold prediction right there. Alonso will qualify 5th, and Van Dorn will qualify 10th.
Yeah.
Alonso will have to put in a very special Spain-style lap for that, I think.
Yeah.
But he's capable of
He
it.
seems to be able to pull them out of his hoop these days, though, doesn't he?
So,
It's perfectly feasible.
yeah. We're expecting we've said this so many times, we're expecting a slight McLaren resurgence in Hungary.
Yeah.
And there will be a Spec 4 engine at some point this year as well, so expect more penalties but a better performance
Don't
after.
look,
But
at
there
us,
won't-
don't look for us at the start of the millennium.
Well-
Look for us at the end.
I tell you what, do you know what? There's no point, because we've got the Hungarian GP. If they let us down at the Hungarian Grand Prix,
Then,
Then
we are finished. They are dead to us. That
Yeah.
horse's head is going in
Right.
their bed.
Until
Singapore.
This really should have been in the
USA.
news section. This really should have been in the news section.
Go on.
But seeing as how we're here, how does everyone feel about Ferrari and Mercedes basically coming out and saying they've no intention of supplying McLaren with engines? and the McLaren boss saying that the only reason they don't want to sell them engines is because they're scared of the team.
Surprised but not shocked.
Bit bullishness on both sides, I think. Mercedes and Ferrari are like, well, we don't want to supply them, whereas, if the FIA
Mercedes is such a prick tease with engines, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but if
they did the same with Red Bull as well.
If the FIA go, you there, pointing at one of them, supply that team over there with engines, because if you don't, you're in trouble.
Which they can do.
Of course they can.
It will be Ferrari that they have to point out, won't it?
Because if Ferrari lose the Haas supply.
No, the Sauber
supply.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
So
then again, that
Ferrari
will
may
only
not
give.
have a choice.
But then that'll only give Honda one engine supply as well, so they might. Oh, well,
Kids, we're not going to the box factory this year. We're going to the box factory. It can't be. I don't think it can be Honda if McLaren pull out of the Honda deal.
No, I don't.
And then
think
the
it can be
FIA go,
either.
okay, you're not going to have your engine supplied by Honda.
Honda.
You're going to the box factory.
Yeah. Bullishness on both sides, in my opinion. It's not. Mercedes and Ferrari probably don't want to supply McLaren. But Zach Brown knows full well that he could probably say that and get away with it at the moment.
McLaren are going to have Honda engines in the back of the car next season. They might be an improvement on this season. Moving on.
Yeah, because it's I was going to say the next two races, Spa and Monza, there's no point.
Yeah.
And then you've got some very power circuits.
Some
after
black and
that.
orange cars also participated at some points of the weekend.
Exactly. Yeah. So the next team.
The next team, I'm just pulling these out there, but we'll go Haas anyway because I've just got the word Haas written down in front of me.
Fair enough.
They'll do okay.
Which one?
Well, they got two drivers quite close to each other, didn't they? In was it Britain? They got quite close in Silverstone. You still got the
12th and 13th.
There you go.
They need to improve. It's they've got to stop the being binary, as somebody said it, described it on Twitter.
Well, yeah, they're either 0-1, 1-0, or 0-0.
0-0. And to be honest, 12th and 13th is
0-0.
Yeah.
So the due a couple of ones.
Well, I don't know about that, but a couple of 11th place finishes.
No. He's in IndyCar now.
He is, but one of them will do well, the other one won't. Maybe they'll both benefit from the fact they know their seat is secure for 2018. We've seen that with drivers before.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen it with drivers where they're told, you've got to drive until the end of next year. The rest of this season, doesn't matter what you do, you're in the car for next year.
Stop trying to do well.
Yeah.
Just go out there and do well.
Yeah, stop trying to impress us and go and drive.
On the other hand, we have seen it with drivers which you've got given a contract and then gone to shit.
Usually for other teams, like Perez when he was at Sauber, great driver. Contract from McLaren, off the track all of the time. And then got to McLaren, off the track all of the time.
Yeah, almost off Formula One.
Almost.
Yeah, if his sponsors hadn't had so much money.
Yeah, all of the money.
Yeah. Okay then. One team with a driver that knows he's safe, Renault. Because Jolyon Palmer definitely knows he's safe until about 3:00 Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I want to see a strong Renault performance in Hungary. I think that Nico Hülkenberg definitely benefited from that new floor design of Renault's. And both drivers having that.
They're going to be let down less by their engine in Hungary
Absolutely.
than they are in other places.
If their reliability can stick with it, then I think if this was to be Palmer's last race as well for Renault, that he could go out on a points finish.
Will we see Hulk running fifth?
Possibly at some point, fighting with Alonso.
Mm.
While we're on the Renault-powered cars then, Red Bull up next.
What do I do? Red Bull or Toro Rosso?
Well, we'll talk about Red Bull. We'll get to
I
Toro
think
Rosso.
Verstappen's going to win it.
I was just going to say, I think they can win it.
Verstappen's going to win it.
Yeah, Max Verstappen could well win this race.
Daniel
Daniel
Ricciardo
Ricciardo
will
could win this race.
win this race, but Max is due the luck.
Yeah, and it's an equaliser for Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
We know their car's not quite as good as it perhaps maybe should be, but this circuit will eliminate the engine deficit that they've got to Ferrari and Mercedes, and will also lend itself to there's always a clever design with Red Bull, and it doesn't always show at every circuit.
No, I know what.
But
I know
it
what you mean,
usually
and
does show at circuits like what is it? Isn't the Hungaroring often called Monaco without the barriers?
Yes.
I mean, like you said, there's fast corners. Max is very good at taking corners quickly and pushing for overtakes on corners.
Yeah.
This is kind of my bold prediction of this week. I expect to see Max Verstappen take the outside, longer line off the racing line on the corner and gain a place on someone at the same time.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those. How the hell did he make that stick?
I'm going to half agree with Dan, but I think Danny Rick's going to win it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think Red Bull can really cause an upset at this race. I think
Red Bull won too.
I think Mercedes are gonna struggle. I really do with their long wheelbase car.
Maybe. I think Mercedes will still be there. Like, I think they'll still be there in contention to win.
Yeah, but I think this is probably the last circuit of the season that
It's their last problem circuit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, maybe Singapore. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to move on to Toro Rosso, last out of the three Renault teams, because what way are the drivers gonna fuck things up for themselves this week? Because if any pair of drivers at the minute can pull, well, I won't say defeat from the jaws of victory, but aim to overtake somebody, but inadvertently punch themselves in the face,
Yeah.
it's going to be them.
I think Sainz. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he does because he's obviously been slapped in his place, so I can't see him coming into the weekend being particularly positive about things.
What about Kvyat? Because he's had bullshit called on him.
Well,
I mean,
after last time.
it'd be interesting to see if Gasly's in the Toro Rosso.
Yeah, keep talking about Palmer's seat. You know, maybe Kvyat is up for grabs as well.
I don't think he'll be replaced mid-season, but next year there will. If you're a Kvyat fan, buy as many hats as you can this year.
Well, he's been told he's staying.
No, hang on till early December because they'll probably be reduced.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you're a wholesaler, buy a load in now. Then put the prices up.
Does anybody remember how much help that summer break last year was to Danny Kvyat post demotion?
Yeah.
And then Martin Brundle did his grid walk in Belgium, caught Kvyat on the grid. So how's it looking? And he said, well, it's looking all right. Just spoke about the weather. Didn't talk about his racing, his racecraft, his summer break, anything at all. Asked him, how's it looking? And he talked about the weather and then walked off. It was cool as fuck. It was like, Danny Kvyat is back. But
he needs that. He needs that again and more.
yeah, they both need it. But I just think if they can both just get through this coming weekend with a good result, not necessarily a fantastic result, but a good result. Just get both cars finished, okay? Maybe one of them in the points.
Clean race.
Yeah, clean race.
That's what they really need.
A good result at the moment for Toro Rosso. Sounds flippant, but it's getting both cars onto lap 2 with all the bits that started lap 1.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Toro Rosso after the early season, pre-season. Thought they were going to be way up there, maybe challenging Red Bulls, and they're just not.
To be honest, I think the car is better than it's showing. It's just that there's that much infighting in the team. Between the two drivers.
Because I think the pressure comes from the fact that the car's underperforming. Basically, everybody got romanticised with the idea that it had a passing resemblance to the Mercedes. Turns out it's just got a passing resemblance to the Mercedes.
No, I just think it's a dysfunctional state that they're in. With two drivers,
but they haven't been like that all year.
No, with two drivers that are gradually realising that they are not going to be in a better situation than the one that they're in, but they've been promised so much more and they're not going to get it.
Yeah, they started the year looking pretty good, and it does seem to me that as the drivers have got more desperate to prove themselves, either to the main team or to other teams, that's what's caused them to lose focus.
There ain't going to be another team for you next year.
Yeah. And Kvyat saying, please just tell me if I'm fired.
Yeah,
and then Sainz being told, $8 million will buy you out your contract for next year. And then Renault going, yeah, but we're going to put Kubica in the car for a test. It's like, oh, well, hang on a second. Maybe that door is closing.
I think McLaren will be the place for Carlos Sainz.
I think you might be right. We'll see.
I think they might go for Giovinazzi.
McLaren.
Ferrari won't put one of their engines in the back of the car. They're not going to want to put one of their drivers in the front of it.
Alfa Romeo might supply McLaren with engines.
May be looking to find a seat for him, and there aren't a whole lot of seats going round.
Yeah.
Would that be too much of a risk for McLaren, though? An unknown quantity of... Oh, God, we've done it again.
No McLaren. No McLaren.
I'm just saying an unknown quantity of a car with one rookie and one second-year driver next season.
No, not a good idea.
Alonso will be in that car next year anyway.
And it'll be powered by a Honda.
Yeah.
And we're done. Williams. We'll get to see a lot of Lance Stroll's true ability here.
No, well, the thing is, Williams have always been shit in around Hungary.
Like that time that Jacques Villeneuve overtook Damon Hill.
They don't have particularly good aero.
history.
No.
No, their aero package since 2011, 2012 has been rubbish.
Yeah, they go for low downforce, which helps them in places like Baku.
I genuinely think they're Q3 out in Q1.
Q1, Q2.
Yeah, no, they will be out in Q1.
You reckon both of them?
And Stroll won't look particularly good against Massa here,
which he didn't in the last race because there was no shenanigans.
I don't think
extra pit stop.
Yeah,
but even so, even before the pit stop, he still would have been like 30 seconds, wouldn't he?
Yeah, just made him look worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say really. Felipe Massa obviously knows the circuit very well. It was where he had his accident, as I was mentioned, a while back. But it's a circuit for experienced drivers, and I think we could see the Haas effect with Williams, where Massa does really well and Stroll just doesn't. But that's not necessarily a poor reflection on Lance Stroll. It's
a sign that he's inexperienced.
Yeah, you're inexperienced, and it will show at this circuit. As I mentioned earlier as well, with Formula Lee, you make a tiny mistake.
Oh, you've lost bags of time.
You lose. You're 1.2, 1.3 seconds down by making a mistake. It will punish you if you make mistakes.
Force India, another team that were looking like they could be massively dysfunctional, but they seem to have straightened things out by Silverstone.
Or was that just one race?
Or was that just the one race where they didn't run into each other and its normal service will be not only resumed but rammed up the arse this week?
I wouldn't want to try and predict what's going to happen with them.
Both drivers will be running in the points.
I think that's pretty much a given between now and the end of the season that Force India will have both drivers running in the points in important stages of the race. It's what happens when they are running in the points and how close they are to each other.
They've just got a decent all-rounder, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've just built a good car.
I think for this race, overall, if we're going to be looking at Red Bull closing the gap to Ferrari closing the gap to Mercedes, and all three of those teams having a very, very close battle, which is going to be great right across the weekend, if that is the case. I think the fourth best team, probably, so you're probably going to be looking at Force India. Like Lee said, it's just a good all-rounder.
Yeah.
It's not particularly great at a certain type of circuit. It's not poor at other types of circuit. It's a pretty solid all-round car. Fourth and fifth, or sixth and seventh for the Force Indias would be a good result. Depends if they can get a Hülkenberg and a McLaren mixed in, in the mix. Maybe a Toro Rosso or a or a Haas or something like that. But it's that midfield battle which is just so tight at the moment, and Force India are spearheading that at the moment. They need to try and carry on that through the second half of the season.
And so far, that's three drivers we've had in fifth place.
Yeah.
Well, I just put both of them in fifth place.
That's Alonso. Our four drivers, Alonso, Hulkenberg, and both Force Indias are all going to finish fifth.
What's wrong with that?
It'll be the tightest finish in Formula One history.
That's maths.
Was it 1989 or 1990? Mansell's year at Ferrari, was that 90? 1990.
Yes, I think so.
When he went from 12th on the grid, by the first corner he was 3rd. So, you it is possible. I know it's a completely different formula way back then, but overtaking and getting a good start is possible in Hungary. It's just very difficult. So you've got to look at sort of like qualifying pace, really, to sort of give you a good idea where you're going to be on race pace. So by Saturday, we'll have a good idea of be able to make predictions, which will still be wrong. Do you want some more drivers?
So they're not really predictions. They're just drivers' names and.
Do you want some
positions.
more drivers in 5th place?
Well, we haven't done Mercedes and Ferrari yet, so I mean, Kimi's going to come fifth.
Kimi
then.
Fifth. Yeah, that's what I was just about to put Kimi Räikkönen in 5th place. Yeah, so you'll have like probably maybe 2 Red Bull drivers and the Mercedes in front of him.
McLaren.
Maybe, who knows? But Kimi 5th, solid drive by Kimi. Kimi, usually does quite well around the Hungaroring, as does Sebastian. Sebastian Vettel, I think he's won the Hungaroring a couple of times, but
I think you're going to see this race being the last true chance for Ferrari to win a race on pace this year.
Yeah, they've got the chance to close the gap to Mercedes purely on having a shorter car, not necessarily a better car.
I'm not sure they've got the car to do it.
In Hungary,
yeah.
I think they have. I think Red Bull,
unless the Mercedes are really struggling,
which I think they will.
I don't think they'll struggle.
I don't think so.
I don't think they'll be as impervious as they have been, but they're still going to be in it for the win.
I think what you've got like Mercedes are like 1 step ahead of Ferrari, and Ferrari are probably 2 steps ahead of Red Bull. Would you say that's fair at the moment, or 1 step ahead of Red Bull?
How big's a step?
I think
You set stairs.
That is the case when you're at a circuit where power is required.
Yeah.
Not necessarily at Hungary.
That's what I was going to say. Hungary, for me, will push Red Bull 2 steps forward, level with Mercedes, and Ferrari 1 step forward, level with Mercedes as well.
Do you think Ferrari have got a better chassis than Mercedes?
No, but they've got the thing that Mercedes have got, which will hinder them, is that extremely long wheelbase. I mean, all right, fair enough. It's only like an extra 8 inches longer than the Ferrari, but it's still as
huge
long
in Formula One terms.
Yeah, when you've got such a twisty circuit. I mean, look how much they struggled for pace in Monaco.
Yeah, but they were still struggling with tyres there.
It wasn't until after Monaco they started understanding the tyres.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. That might play into it. But yeah, I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Mercedes are going to be 5th.
Why not? Why not? Everybody else is.
Hamilton, solid 5th. Bottas, 5th.
Bottas could be 5th.
Bottas could be 5th.
I think Bottas is going to beat Hamilton this weekend.
I think he might do as well.
So Hamilton will be 6th.
No, Bottas will be 4th. Hamilton, Raikkonen, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Perez, and Ocon will finish 5th. Yes, Dan.
Yeah. I think that's all of them.
So the next driver to finish is outside the points.
Yeah, probably.
So Haas then.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great opportunity for Valtteri Bottas to do well. I don't know if he's ever sort of really shone at the Hungaroring in his Williams days.
I can't think of it.
I can't either, but it will be. I really like this race. I've always loved the Hungarian GP.
It's always interesting.
Yeah. It's got a contract until like 2021, I think it is, or something like that, or like way into the future. Yeah. It's brilliant. I love it.
Let's do some heroes and villains then.
Hero and villain, go Lee.
Hero, Fernando Alonso. He's gonna do something special with that car and stuff it somewhere it shouldn't be, as he does.
5th.
Yeah, the either that or straight up Hasagawa's ass. But villain Lance Stroll will once again begin his never-ending march.
His villainous slide.
Yeah, his never-ending march towards the end of the season, where he is going to relentlessly prove me right, race after race after race.
And you're going to do top 3 as well?
Daniel Ricciardo
To win.
to win. Lewis Hamilton second. Sebastian Vettel third. Although, I'd love to see a McLaren on the podium, but I just can't see it happening.
No. My top three, I'll go with Max Verstappen to win, Lewis Hamilton's second, Valtteri Bottas third. Let's just pull that one out of the thin air after saying Mercedes are going to struggle.
And heroes and villains.
Heroes and villains, I reckon Red Bull will be the heroes, providing us with a brilliant race, and I think the villains are going to be Renault. Renault are going to let Palmer down somehow and not give him that final push. I want him to score points.
Oh, sorry, we forgot to connect the fuel pump to the engine.
Yeah.
Honourable mention hero will be Robert Kubica. Testing.
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll do that on next week's prediction.
He could be hero and villain.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with Lee that Fernando Alonso is going to do well, but I think that Verstappen is going to do some spectacular overtakes.
Yeah.
So I'm predicting him for the hero.
Right.
I agree with Lee that Lance Stroll isn't going to do well here, but I don't think he's going to do anything villainous compared to what the Force Indias could do to each other or what the Toro Rossos could do to each other. So it's going to be someone else who stuffs their car somewhere where it shouldn't be in the bad way. I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz.
As the villain.
As the villain, yeah.
Controversial.
Ooh.
Evil Spaniard.
How can a man with hair like that be a villain?
When he grows
Because
a
he can get
goatee.
away with it because he takes his helmet off. And
All of a sudden, he's worth it.
Yeah, walks into the garage, everyone's mad at him, takes his helmet off, shakes his head out.
No, he doesn't even shake his head. That's what's weird. He takes his helmet off and it's just perfect.
Well, yeah, he shakes it out, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Top three, Verstappen,
Yeah.
Ricciardo,
Yeah.
Bottas.
No championship challenges.
Well,
Bottas.
Bottas. Yeah.
Top three. I'm going to go the other way around to yours with the Red Bulls. I think Ricciardo will take it from Verstappen. With Vettel third.
We've all gone for Red Bull winners.
They're screwed.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Out in Q1.
Yeah. Hero,
Sorry, Max.
Saying Alonso would be really predictable. So I'm going to say Stoffel.
Ooh. Do you think he's going to do better than Alonso or just be up there with him?
I think
Hipster answer.
Gets the luck with a safety car.
I think Stoffel will do nearly as well as Alonso. So in real terms, that makes it a better performance because Alonso, like you say, is going to put the car somewhere it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But Stoff will be right with
And
him.
I think Stoffel will be right with him, putting the car
Where
where
it
should be, which is right behind Alonso.
Right, okay.
Or right up with Alonso.
Yeah.
So if Alonso's out of position 8 places further forward, Stoffel is also going to be out of position 8 places further forward, and that to me will be proof that he's worthy of.
He's all that.
Yeah, he's worthy of being the number 2.
We'll see.
The villain, pick a Toro Rosso driver. It could be either of them.
I would like to see Danny Kvyat have a nervous breakdown again.
I think it can actually be brought on just by giving him a steering wheel and saying, get in the car.
It can be brought on by giving him a steering wheel and going, do you want your Red Bull drive back? He said, yeah, tough.
No, got it. Easiest way to do it. Send him a Game of Thrones DVD with a gift tag on saying, lots of love, Helmut Marko. You've got time to watch this now.
I think all you need to do is say, right, Danny, you got to drive really well at this race to keep your contract. And that's it, he's fucked.
I think we've said that to him for the last sort of 3-4 races.
Yep, and he's been fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't drive into your teammate. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't press the button that says do not press this button. We will be live blogging the race. I think it's going to be 3 of us doing the blog this week.
I think
Yeah?
so.
Dan, you're not going to be like in a caravan not catching fish.
No, I'll be in your front room not catching fish.
Fish murderer.
He didn't murder any,
yeah.
though.
No, but you tortured them then.
No, it was too windy.
Like, that's like saying Fritzl just kept people. It was all right. It's not right.
Just pets. You just have some pets.
Have people pets.
Nobody ever told him not to.
Oh, God. Yeah, we'll be live blogging the race on the 3legsforwheels.com site.
To be fair, talking about Fritzl, people give him a bad rap, but that man looked after 2 families. Carry on.
It says,
Yeah, no, really, please carry on.
yeah, it says total shunt next.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a 2% on my iPhone. I hope it's going to last.
Fine.
I can't say guitar.
Okay, we don't need one this week.
We don't have the time because my phone's going to run out of battery. And I don't want to have to go and get the
It's
laptop.
time for Total Shunt.
Shunt.
Done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Who sent this one in first?
Finn Wilson.
Excellent. Thank
Good
you.
name.
Second time shunter. Where are we?
Long time listener, second time shunter.
I've got to fucking read. Jesus, I'm so unbelievably tired now. It's ridiculous.
This is baby brain.
I thought you said you could cope with no sleep and having the baby wasn't. Really
No, I do.
affecting you.
No. I do. I cope really well with very little sleep.
Before your phone dies,
But
Lee.
everyone has a oh fuck, I'm on 1%. My sister has over 130,000 followers on Instagram.
Max Verstappen.
Have
Have you got a backup device for this, Lee? Because this is going to run out.
Isn't Max's sister a serious Carter?
I don't
I
know.
think so, yeah.
I don't know if she is or not, but she's responsible for Max Verstappen's social media accounts.
We'll have the next clue.
I'm going to put this on battery saving mode.
I'll just pass you the book so you can write our guesses.
Oh, yeah. I'll write our guesses down, yeah.
One of my favourite methods of travel is jet.
Jet. Jet out of Gladiators.
Possibly. Let's have a third. We don't have no
Yeah,
idea who that is going to
no.
be.
I am a regular person in the... I'm a regular visitor to the F1 paddock. I'm reading it wrong.
My sister has over that many thousand followers.
I'm definitely not going to get my laptop talking.
I'm definitely pausing that.
Not hitting pause.
And there wasn't a jump cut there at all.
No.
No, I heard that not be a jump cut. Right, so in the gap that didn't happen, I was thinking, I'm not sure we're talking about a person here. I think we're talking sister like Toro Rosso are a sister company to Red Bull.
Or my sister has... Yeah, I see what you mean. I see where you're going with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, fair enough. So we've had 3 clues.
So that means we've got to lock in our first guess.
Yeah, should we lock in our first guess as...
Right. Which companies have got a sister company that makes jet engines?
Rolls-Royce and Aston Martin?
Rolls-Royce are the only jet engine manufacturer I can think of.
Saab.
Yeah, but they're bust. Now they've gone.
I will say that there's no year given on this, so it could be anyone past or present.
Should we just lock
Or
in
future.
Max Verstappen as a
Well,
first one?
Or future.
Or future.
Yeah, I think the closest we've got is either Max Verstappen or Tamara Eccleston,
Tamara Eccleston.
because she's the more famous of the Eccleston offspring.
So
Who's
we
the
need to
least
name
famous
us.
one then?
Yeah, who's the other one?
Well, no, that's why I'm saying Tamara Eccleston is the more famous. So the least famous sister would have less Instagram followers.
How many does Tamara have?
Probably a downside more than 135,000.
I don't know.
And she's regularly in the F1 paddock. Oh, has been.
Okay, let's go with that.
Okay, then first guess locked in, Tamara Eccleston.
Right.
Tamara Ecclestone.
Maybe your sister's yesterday Eccleston.
Is it Tamara who came up with the shampoo, and she didn't want it to be anything to do with her dad's enterprises, so she ended up calling it One Formula.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, don't want it to be anything to do with what my dad does. You should end up calling it one formula.
Well, what, does she know 2 words?
Apparently so, yeah.
Anyway. Right. My home is valued at £10 million.
I'm still sticking with my guess.
I'm still. I'm sure Lee's not asking questions about a person here.
A company would be worth more than £10 million.
I'll also say that because
The company headquarters might not be.
in the kerfuffle, when I said I have a good total shunt, I picked the wrong one, and I don't know who this is.
Oh, so this isn't Finn Wilson.
Well, no, it is Finn. It is Finn Wilson.
But you think?
Are you Finn Wilson?
I'm not even.
But you think it's rubbish?
What? No, I don't think it's rubbish. I don't know.
You said it. You said this wasn't the good one.
I don't know who it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, what I'm also trying to say is Finn Wilson is actually ahead of Lee on the Formula Lee standings for the season.
Next. Read, man, read.
My largest public presence is on social media.
We're still in the same vein of what Paul said before.
Yeah, with a sister who's got 135,000 Instagram
I don't know what
followers.
her sister's called.
Or Tom from MySpace.
Yeah, but we're not looking for the sister because my sister has 135,000 followers. So
Yeah, but it could be the sister. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying Tamara because she's the one that I've heard of, and her sister's got that many followers.
Okay.
Next. One of my favourite recreational activities is jet skiing.
That's what Lewis Hamilton and Justin Bieber did in their bromance, wasn't it?
I have no idea who likes jet skiing. Water sports to me is an alien concept.
I once saw a couple of people out jet skiing in Port Erin Bay, and they collided with each other.
Ouch.
And they both fell off, and one guy broke his leg. But unfortunately, you also get a lot of jellyfish in Port Erin Bay, and the guy with the broken leg got bitten to pieces before the Coast Guard could get him out.
Ouch.
So he wasn't very chuffed when they dragged him out of the water.
No. That would be terrible. Next.
I have sat in a Formula One car but never driven one.
Has Danny Kvyat got this?
I'd also like a answer.
Yeah, we need to throw a guess in. Okay, so we're not looking at Max Verstappen.
No.
Vitaly Petrov in Soviet Russia, Formula One car drives you.
No, because he was a Formula One driver for 3 seasons.
Some reason.
For about a couple of seasons. Hey, he stopped Alonso winning a title.
He was a Formula One driver for a few million reasons.
I think so, a few million rubles. We're looking at somebody sort of high end, aren't you? Who's
Oh, hang on.
One of the Williams sisters.
I was going to go on similar lines, but Jerry Halliwell's eldest daughter,
Yeah.
the one whose father isn't Christian Horner
Yeah.
for this one, but I've no idea what the name is, but she's a celebrity, so it's
I've-
probably something like Rain Aerosol Vacuous Halliwell.
Okay, write that down.
Rain Aerosol Vacuous Halliwell.
right? Okay,
Right.
this is the
Nice.
worst guess for a total shot.
Nice guess. So, which guesses have you got so far?
Tamara Eccleston.
Yeah.
Or Rain Aerosol Vacuous Halliwell.
Right. I am male.
Male.
Tom Cruise.
Roscoe the dog.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, Roscoe the dog. Coco is has about 130,000 followers on Instagram, I would imagine. My main, regular visitor to the paddock.
Likes to travel by jet.
Yeah.
Because Lewis Hamilton's the only driver I can think who likes to travel by jet.
How much is Roscoe's kennel worth?
Probably about £10 million.
God, Does Lewis not know you can pick them up in B&Q for a lot less than that?
No, he sleeps in the Veyron.
Would you like another clue?
Yes, please.
My dad is a 3-time world champion.
And can we have the final clue before we give our last answer?
My sister's name is Coco.
Are you Roscoe the dog?
I am Roscoe the dog.
Yes, well done, Paul. Well done, and well done, Finn. That was very good.
Right, so I
I was saying quite early on I didn't think it was a person.
you did get that bit.
I did change it because I wanted to make it slightly. I wanted to drag it on slightly longer because question 8, which I said I'm male,
Was
it
2.
It was actually I am not a human being. I thought that was it was too much.
Great. So I've got the last 2 total shunts, and neither of them are Formula 1 drivers.
No, I think we've found like your specialist subject.
You've found my level. Dogs and hedgehogs.
Yeah, bullshit is your specialist subject.
That's rich coming from you.
Mm.
Who just turned the wrestling off on his laptop.
Yes. Yeah. Formula Lee?
Formula Lee. This laptop still isn't syncing with the main spreadsheet, but I do know that the best times are heading south. We are now looking at below 120 to get in the points.
The low 120s.
It's the low 120s. 120.5 is looking like the cut off for points, and
Not near that at the moment.
yeah, and knock a couple of seconds off that for first place, which, as things stand, isn't Jeff Sharp.
Ooh.
Halfway through this competition, which is
At the end of Q1,
at
essentially.
the end of effectively, yeah, which is of course Hungary in the dry in a Red Bull. But yeah, Jeff Sharp isn't leading at the moment, based on the last time I checked the times.
And how's Team 3 Legs 4 Wheels doing?
Appalling. Lee's been busy, so I've not seen him.
That's no excuse.
I haven't set one. Keep my powder dry. On
Chris, you are winning, I think. Dan, you're in second, and I am terrible.
Fair enough.
Let me just have a look at the current leader, first-time entrant, is Sean Muckle.
Oh, first time entrant,
Ooh.
new boy on the block.
Yeah, and Luke is in second.
Have we had a rookie winner?
Not for a while. I think not since the first race Jeff entered.
Yeah.
So yeah, week to go. Alter play for cut-off time is 7:00 UK, 2:00 Eastern time.
Yeah.
On Monday the 31st. Get them into us by then. You can send a direct message on Twitter at 3legs4wheels. You can go onto our Facebook page and leave a message there, or you can email them to 3legs4wheels@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Bit of a mailbag. Not had masses, but I just wanted to mainly congratulations to Lee
Thank
for
you.
proving that his bits worked 9 months ago.
Yeah. Congratulations on my fertility.
Congratulations, you virile man.
Yeah. The old wank on the toilet seat worked. But
Don't say it.
no, I'd like to thank everyone that sent me messages. Like I know they came through Facebook from people, in the in our private messages. I had some private messages on Twitter. I had messages on Twitter, and it was all very nice and very touching.
We probably want to say happy birthday to Gemma as well, don't we?
I'm going to say happy 18th birthday to regular listener Gemma.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Gemma.
birthday.
She's been listening to us for quite a surprisingly long time.
Yeah,
Which proves that she has very low standards of taste and decency.
absolutely. Yeah, grand.
Yep. Right. Got an email from can't see it clearly here because my screen's blurry. Brian Grabianowski or Grabianowski.
If you insist.
He certainly will not.
From California.
That doesn't make it any better.
No, it probably doesn't.
So he's going to grab me a Nofsky and then give me some nice orange juice. No, thank you, sir.
You need more sleep.
Absolutely.
I'm asking about driver safety. Instead of debating over the Halo, aero screen and shield, forgive me if I left one out, but no, I think he's covered all the three that have been discussed, apart from the close call.
No, what he's forgetting is what most internet Formula 1 fans want to use as head protection. Hope.
He isn't most internet Formula 1 fans. He's got taste, he listens to us, he's got a brain.
This sounds like an interesting email.
Yeah. Why are there not more talks of improving helmet and neck protection?
They've done a lot for that over the years with the hands device and the neck protector, which Lewis Hamilton couldn't secure properly in Azerbaijan. All these. If you look at sort of a Formula One car from early 90s, because I think the neck protection was brought in 96. 95, 96, but
it was 95 when the new foam high collar came in.
Yeah, because that was all because Roland Ratzenberger's death was actually attributed to his head shaking around,
And of course,
after the impact.
Of course, Rubens Barrichello, when the same weekend,
Barrel flipped,
where he did the barrel roll and half fell out of the car.
and also if you is it Daily Motion, who've got quite a lot of old Formula One races on there.
Yeah.
On their site. If you have a look at old Formula One races from around about 92, 93, have a look at how much inside the cockpits you can see, because you can see the driver's shoulders, you can see the patches on the shoulders, you can see the arms moving inside, you can see the steering wheel.
Karun Chanduk drove the Williams from that era at Silverstone, and he was commenting on just how high he was in the car, or how little protection
there
he
was. Yeah.
I mean, back then it was sort of just above the elbow, just.
Yeah. I mean, you see at low level sports as well, neck protection. A lot of drivers wear like collars and things like that. What you don't see a lot of if you look at a Formula One helmet against a motorcycle, a standard road motorcycle helmet, for example, there's a lot of build up in the lower part of the helmet in Formula One to prevent the neck from rolling around too much in an impact as well.
Yeah. Well, Sean, when she used to do the banger racing, they actually insisted on the
foam collars.
neck collars.
Yeah,
that had to go under the helmet.
Similar to that, but they're built into the helmet in Formula One helmets. You can sort of see there's a much bigger space underneath the helmet in a Formula One racing helmet than there is in, as I say, standard motorcycle helmet for the road or something like that.
Of course, in a motorcycle helmet, you have to be able to turn the head around to look.
Of course,
to the side.
Completely.
The thing to think is, like, when hands devices were first brought in, people went, "Oh, we shouldn't have hands devices. It's going to be hard for people to get out of the cars," and there was the same backlash for that.
Yeah. One thing that he also did say is, could you make the helmets stronger and a little heavier? But I kind of answered this on email by saying, but every 1 kilo, as an example, that you add to the weight of a helmet becomes an extra 5 or 6 kilos depending on the corner that you're going round.
Yeah.
And also, what was the what were we talking about last week with a futuristic design for a car where the helmet was actually the helmet was built in as part of the aero bit for the front of the car, almost like a canopy but part of the vehicle. So,
see, I'd also argue that maybe you can't improve helmet safety at the minute because we're actually at the peak of what's possible with that.
I think we are, because I mean the designs have got to be. I hate to use the term strong, stable, but as lightweight as possible, because the weight of those is going to increase massively.
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking about protection from, say, a wheel hitting you at 200 miles an hour, what's a wheel weigh? 2 kilos, something like that?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
it
at
doesn't matter
200
what you make the helmet out of, because it's essentially if it's hitting something that's just encasing your head, it's gonna kill you anyway, isn't it?
It's gonna make huge forces on your neck.
Isn't a 5 kilogram wheel at 200 mile an hour something like 2.5 tons of force?
Yeah.
So it's something ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
I'd also say as well that people were saying that helmet technology doesn't come on. Helmet technology does come on. It's just not sexy enough to be talked about. Because when Felipe had his accident and the spring hit him, David Coulthard actually came out and said that due to the upgrade that the helmets had, if that incident had happened 1 year before, he'd have died.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's they do move. It's just we don't know about it
because effectively they're the same shape,
and we don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever cut open or seen a cross section of a standard road motorcycle helmet?
Yeah.
It's essentially the padding where you put your head, then a small sort of flexible plastic shell, polystyrene for the want of a better word, and then a hard plastic shell on the outside, and that's it.
Yeah. It's why you should never use one if you drop it, because the polystyrene compresses.
You're supposed to change. Formula One drivers change their helmets on a regular basis. I think it's every session, but whereas road motorcycle users will change them every 2 years.
Or after an accident.
Or after an
dropping
accident,
it.
or dropping it, yeah.
Or after it falls out of the front seat of your mate's van, and then you find yourself 90 quid out of pocket because you dropped their helmet out of the front seat of their van.
This is a story that you have something to do with, isn't it?
I might have been the dropper and the payer.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't exciting. I was just sat in my mate's van and didn't notice that his helmet was next to me on the seat. When his motorcycle crash helmet was next to me on the seat. Oh, I'm editing that one.
So after you did that, rather than pay him, did you not offer to polish his helmet?
I'm just gonna move swiftly on.
Have we got anything else mailbag wise?
Care.
You do care. You love us. We're your favourite people.
That's what worries me.
Default.
The two greatest words in the English language.
Got an email earlier from Bradley Chambers, who has been doing some various surveys based around F1 and what people think. 91% of people that he's asked think Robert Kubica will be back in F1 next year. I think 100% around this table think he probably will be in some capacity.
Next year.
Even if just as a reserve driver.
Next year, I'm not sure.
33% think the FIA will scrap the halo and it's not going to happen.
33% are wrong.
Yeah. 36% think Lewis Hamilton will be world champion. 41% think Vettel will be world champion, and 23% think Bottas will be world champion.
I think both the Vettel and Bottas ones are wrong.
Well, I don't know, because I honestly think Mercedes are going to be stronger at the traditional second half of the season circuits, Spa, Monza, Suzuka.
Yeah.
Possibly not Singapore.
Abu Dhabi, where it is.
Abu Dhabi, yeah. You know, it's USA as well.
Yeah.
It's difficult to see at this moment in time. Don't forget that things can change very, very quickly in this sport. But at this moment in time,
They usually don't.
at this moment in time, it does look like Mercedes may have had a fight on their hands the first half of the season, but they've just
Don't so much anymore.
Well, yeah, they've kicked into another gear. They've kicked into championship winning gear, and Ferrari aren't there yet. Ferrari might join the party again later on in the season. Who knows?
He does these polls fairly regularly on the Twitter account that he's got, and if you want to follow that, it's 4MULA prediction, or at the number 4 MULA prediction. Have a look and give him your thoughts next time he runs a poll.
Cool.
I think that's probably about it for this week. Oh, I did actually promise one company I would give them a plug because they've been incredibly nice to me.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity. You are not shit.
Oh, fair enough.
They couldn't deliver some stuff to me, so because I couldn't fill in the online form because they don't like Isle of Man phone numbers on their online order form. So they sent it to me for free.
Oh, that's very nice of them.
So, Cards Against Humanity, you don't suck.
Can we also give a shout out to A Cloud Above again as well?
Yeah.
Who are doing an excellent job putting up with the massive amounts of traffic that we get coming through because when we signed up for the hosting with them, we didn't realise that we were going to be using an entire month's worth of data in
one day.
One day when a podcast comes out.
Oops.
So
thanks, guys. You guys are great.
Yeah, Cloud Above, you have done good.
Yes,
as they say in football.
Yeah.
There was a book I was meant to plug as well, which I can't remember, so I'll put a link on the website. It's personal trainer that's written a MMA fitness diet book.
Fair enough.
And he's got 3 people advertising it. One is an MMA fighter I've never heard of. One is us, when I remember to put the link.
It's that MMA fighter that's not Colin McGregor then.
And Conor McGregor is the other one that's advertising it. Yes. So it's 2 people I've heard of and another MMA fighter.
Right.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he's asked us to promote it as well as Conor McGregor, which
nice.
is so. I'll put a link up for that.
Yeah.
We aren't actually making any money from it. We're just doing this as a favour.
Yeah, no worries.
But we are like pretty much exactly what you'd look for in the physique of someone advertising an MMA diet.
Yeah, as
apparently
in we all need one.
Apparently, this diet will turn you into an MMA fighter.
Yeah, well, my diet's like an MMA fighter.
Do you not need to learn how to fight?
No, my diet's like an MMA fighter. Every day is another battle to survive.
Right, we're going to disappear. Hungarian Grand Prix from Friday. They're only doing a 3-day Grand Prix weekend again. Mm-hmm. Don't know how the Silverstone experiment worked with the 4 days. I'll be back doing the live qualifying blog Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon we will have the main blog. I'll be doing that with Chris and Dan, with the odd chiming in comment from Lee, I would have thought.
I'm sure I'll be there. Get in touch with me on Twitter and stuff at Total Shunt. So
yep, Lee is a total shunt. Chris
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
and at Pablo100.
And also our Facebook page is just a couple of likes away from hitting 1,500.
We're
so
on 1,497.
yeah, so if you want to go over to our Facebook page, just search 3 Legs 4 Wheels on there and hit the like button. You can. We're all on there quite often as well. Nice little community on the go. So come and join us and say hi.
definitely.
And also, I asked the patrons this before, on the iTunes like front page and suggested podcasts. There's another fucking Formula One podcast there, and in my humble opinion, it's shit. So, what we need more reviews, because we haven't got enough reviews. So go and give us 5 stars because we deserve them. And yeah, I mean, if you don't even want to write a review,
You don't have to.
just do the stars.
Just do the 5-star review.
Just
I mean,
go and
how
do the
dare.
stars. Write A, and then leave it. I don't care what you write. It's the stars.
You don't even have to write anything. You just give the
Just give the stars. Just do the stars. It's a pain in the.
You don't have to write things like Lee should be the ruler of the universe. He is so good.
But that is one of our reviews.
Yeah.
I wonder who wrote
person.
that.
I don't know.
No idea. He's
know.
a clever person.
Steve Levens, wasn't it?
He's genius, and clearly hiding his identity. But yeah, I want us to get above these other podcasts, because we get more downloads than these podcasts, and they're getting all the
Notoriety.
hoo ha.
Yeah.
I want some hoo ha.
No.
Enough hoo-ha for you.
You had some 9 months ago. Anyway, we'll be back next week.
We will.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.